Well, I'm pretty happy with this, with stage one basically. If I go to Spot Cullen, I think you'll see why. This is getting really red in there, which we think is a negative, but there may be a reason for that. If I go in close on here, you'll see different angles. There are new traps being formed, but they're very succulent, and for polystyrene and perlite underneath the charcoal, I think that's pretty amazing, really, because where's the peat, fellas? But and with this one in here, starting to put out more pictures, but I don't know, it's that one there got to about 80% of that one. This one here got to only about 75%, I reckon, of the size of that one. But it's putting out a new one. I don't know if you can see that down there. If the Spot Cullen can pick that up, I don't know. So I think that'll be its last picture, I think, before the season ends. They're going to consolidate. Don't know what's going on with the manganese here with this one. It's certainly got some sort of deficiency, or looks like it's got some sort of deficiency. So it was guttating last night, which I didn't know they did. And this one was definitely guttating, all of this one. But this one over here wasn't, which is very strange. So anyway, this one's consolidating down there, putting some roots down there. I've had some tomato seedling germination, which I've transferred a few, as you'll see what I'm doing. This one's very strange. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, it's got a bit of weirdness on it there. But they usually come back. But you notice basically it's just producing petioles now. The traps are totally not there, sort of thing. So I think that's important to the carnivore syndrome. This one here, sort of, you can hardly see it there now, but all the dandelion seedlings, they seem to be okay. And of course the dandelion one is one of our CP weed associates. Is a little bit different to the other. It's harder to grow, but again, it's a bit like Glandulitia. Where it grows year in, year out, and it just has like spots, and it's hard to work out what's going on with it. This one here, I think I quite like the look of the new traps. If you can see that, can you see the succulence on some of those new traps? So, this one over here is starting to produce. I don't know, it's just the end of the season. It's decided it's going to just go into dormancy and fatten up the rhizome. I don't know, the fact we're just still in the sand. But I've made up some of these runs with the chalk and polystyrene, and I've found out that 50-50 polystyrene and sand is quite good as a medium, in a way, once you get past all this sort of stuff on the surface. I've done a finer version of this, instead of using that stuff on the bag, I've used grated stuff. And before, I had to keep it wet, fellas, because we've gone from some weird days of cold, wintry like days to back to summery type days. Seems to take the water up from the base all right. Anyway, back to general focus, I think, so we can see these properly. And I've put in a various range of plants, dandelions. Each one's got a dandelion in it, plantains and things like that. And I've done egg and chalk and manganese. I've done egg and chalk and zinc, egg and chalk and zinc and iron. I've done egg and chalk and iron, egg and chalk and iron and manganese. I haven't done the three combo yet, because I'm trying to find out what it is that's in peat that makes not only the seeds germinate, but also cuttings and things like that to strike. Because if we can work out what that is, we should be able to, in theory, take cephalotus leaves and pitchers, slice them down the middle, get those, and even go eventually, when we work out what it is, just go to Sarracenia leaves and just chop those up into 1 by 2 centimetre squares and things like that, and get those to strike on the soil. If we can work out what the so-called X factor, or it may be more than one factor, that's in the peat. But the fact that we've got to a stage now where we haven't actually got the peat, we might be able to go forth. Now, this is what pushed me on for the calcium. is the fact that if I go to Spot Cullen, so this is calcium, your eggy chalk thing. The organism still grew in there, still pinked, but I don't know, it's not quite as red as that. And when with the chalky egg copper one, no growth. So you're right about the copper to a degree. There's something there with copper, but you're wrong about the calcium apparently. So the next question is, can we make it redder, and do we want to make it redder? And so what I'm thinking is, since the molybdenum makes it go all the way down the bottom of the pot and seems to be quite red, is the molybdenum, we think it's acting like a manganese, but is it really acting like iron in a way, as well as it's acidophile, in other words? And I'm thinking all that experiments I did like 15 years ago with cerium, and I got this shocking response where out of this central stipulate bud of this Drossel banana, I got 3 roots coming out with all these crimson red root hairs, 2 on one side, 1 on the other. They came out, but they just sat there, in front of the soil, sort of not penetrating the soil for some reason, like sitting there like they were waiting for something. And this went on for a couple of weeks until they went black and it went dead and died, sort of thing. But up to that time, they were this crimson red colour, and it was just amazing because this stipulate bud sort of reflexed backwards, and these roots came out from the middle of where the normal binata thing is. It was amazing to watch. I was living in bloody King John Howard days, and it was before I knew how to get infinity focus on my video camera. Would have loved, had the instruction book that told you how to do that. Hadn't been arsing around for a year and a half. I could have captured that and got that on video. It wouldn't have been a blur or anything like that. So I didn't even bother filming it because I knew I couldn't do it back then. So yeah. Anyway, so I thought we'd go on here and I'm going to take the next step. I'm going to iron egg and see if we get is it going to reduce the iron to that nice green colour? Because my idea is if iron reacts with ammonia and copper reacts with ammonia, is that what the problem is? And also nickel, as we worked out, seems to react with the I know it's a bit skew with here. So what I'm going to do is I better put it on Spot Cullen now, because here we are on Spot Cullen. I'm just going to get this, I'm just getting organised, but I'm probably going to run out before I get organised. So, because I was playing around with cerium, and it seemed to be one of the only 3 trendsetters in the lanthanide series that did anything, sort of thing. And lanthanum and whatever the second one was that didn't work, I tried. Was it gadolinium? You look it up. I did write something about it, sort of thing. We on the so I'm just going to do this like that. Now I'm going to add my iron sulfate to it, and if it goes green, it's reduced down and doesn't oxidise up. Well, that's a step forward, fellas, because we know we can get that sort of green colour, that sort of iron hydroxide sort of colour, when we add the iron sulfate to a bottle of ammonia. We already know that nickel seems to be able to take the ammonia right out of a bottle after about 3 or 4 weeks, about a month basically. You put it in there, and after about a month, absolutely no ammonia smell in the bottle of ammonia. It's like a bottle of water. And I used to find that when I put the nickel with the copper together at the sort of toxic level, they didn't seem to be so toxic anymore. So I'm thinking, what was going on there, fellas? And as I said, with this thing that happened, I put the nickel, the copper together, and I had the cerium in there, but I had it in a certain ratio, which been scratching my head, and I'm thinking, yeah, that's what it is. This is my assumption now. This is my hypothesis: is the copper. It takes away the iron, which is involved in respiration. That's why nothing grows. But if you can put enough iron there in the right ratio, and you should be able to work that out from the ammonia, And as I said, from my experience with the cerium, if I assume that the cerium is acting a bit like manganese iron in a way, I've already got the answer of how much iron I need to add. But first of all, what I want to do is just see if the egg will reduce the iron. So we're on spot culling, so we'll go in there. That's stage one. And will it make the organism redder? Because we're after red roots, of course, you see. So if we can get the organism, and we're making the assumption the organism is somehow involved in some sort of symbiotic relationship, is this going to go green, or is it just not going to oxidise up? No, our hypothesis that it was going to go green is totally blown out of the water. So we know, I assume, that copper and iron react differently to the reductive protein in a way, but it is sort of changing colour. Yes, it's sort of. Oh, okay. Is it going to rust? Or go to some other sort of... Oh, well, it's different, fellas. It's certainly different anyway. So I'll keep doing this. And then we're going to pour it into our bottle, which has already been primed, of course. We'll put that to one side. So we've got our... learn something new every day. It is taking on colour. Yes, it's definitely taking on the colour, fellas. So I'll get this mixed in properly, and then I'll stick it in the bottle. And I suppose we've got to do it now, because this is the length of time we did the other ones, didn't we? So we could actually also do one with chalk and put the iron into the chalk at the same time, sort of thing. Maybe that's what you got to do. Maybe that's when it goes green. You know, we just haven't worked out this pathway of reduction and valency yet properly, and also ratios between things, so that we can have the right amount of iron. Well, as I said, I think I've roughly got there with the cerium, but it's in the back of my mind, sort of thing, of how much, and it's a lot. So, you know, you've got to have a lot of iron there to counteract the copper, basically. And then you've got to think about, you know, cyanide and iron. You know, you can actually have ferrocyanide, and it's supposedly I wouldn't want you to try this, but supposedly it's non-poisonous because the cyanide grabs onto the iron so tightly that it becomes it doesn't react with you.